I was recently in Pilsen, that's a suburb just outside of Chicago that has a large Mexican population. As I was walking along, just looking at the storefronts and restaurants, there was this one restaurant, Carnitas Uruapan European. I can't pronounce it quite correctly, they'll tell me that. They specialise in pork. I couldn't resist. I knew I had struck gold. As soon as I walked into the restaurant, as I met Marcos, I took a look around. You can see all the artwork. They have these masks on the wall. They have the picture of him and his father. You can smell the pork. You get a feeling of nostalgia. It hasn't changed since 1975. What does it mean, Carnitas Uruapan? What does that mean?
Well, literally, you know, it's descriptive of where we're from in Mexico. We're from Uruapan, Michoacan. The state of Michoacan is famous for two big things, yes. Avocados and carnitas.
And it's actually famous for carnitas?
It's actually famous for carnitas. That region is the equivalent to like Southern barbecue in the US, where they go back and forth, and there's a lot of different, you know, flavors in each region and different ways of preparing it, but it comes from down there. Carnitas are from Michoacan.
Now this has been open since 1975?
Yeah.
How did it come about? You're too young for that.
I wasn't around back then. My father opened in 1975, and he came here in the late 60s. There was a big wave of Mexican immigrants that came up to Chicago to work in the stockyards, down in back of the yards, and also in the meat packing companies, which are now, you know, what is the West Loop. Yeah. So my dad worked in the meat packing companies in the West Loop, and you know, after working there for a number of years, saved up, and it was, you know, it was a natural, you know, natural next step for him to want to bring that flavor of his hometown to Chicago.
So he came as an immigrant, hardly any money? None. American dream?
Invested everything he'd saved up for years into starting the business, and he was down to, you know, not having any more money. He still needed a couple more pieces of equipment, and so he had a medallion that he had, the Virgen de Guadalupe, the patron saint of Mexico. It was his most prized possession at the time, and he sold it. Sold it to buy one of the cauldrons that's back there. You know, my dad would get up in the morning, come down, make the carnitas. As soon as they were ready, he'd drive me to school. And then he'd come back, and you know, I used to go to the back of the restaurant and throw on an apron and try to get it all bloody and dirty so you could see how hard I was working. But yeah, I was always, you know, born into it and learned it from my father from a young age.
Tell us about the food. Chicharrones. How do you make it?
We take the pork skin and then we scour it. We cut that little zigzag pattern into it. We put it in one of those giant cauldrons, which are called casos, and we cook it at a very low and slow temperature for about 8 to 10 hours. Then we leave it overnight, and then we finish it off. Yeah, from there, once it's completely dry, we flash fry it 5 minutes, and it just puffs up and explodes and turns into that crispy crackling. So carnitas are a natural next step of taking the chicharrón and the byproduct of it, which is the naturally rendered pork oil, the manteca. And essentially, we initially sear the carnitas. We flash fry the shoulders, flash fry the ribs. We get a nice sear on them, wait till they're nice and brown, and lock in all the juices of the meat on the inside. We heat the oil up again this time. This time it's kind of at a medium heat. and we cook it low and slow for about 2 hours.
But when it comes out, it's just got that rich pork flavour.
Right, but it's not greasy because it's been seared.
Yeah.
It's locked in.
It's all in, it's so tender. I think what I love most about this restaurant was that it started with a family restaurant. An immigrant brought it to America. He followed his dream, he took a risk, he was an entrepreneur, and now it's being passed down to the next generation. I love that their family spending time together, but I love that this recipe's been kept alive. This is everything I knew America was. It's that melting pot, that part of where people come here to follow the American dream and do good. I would highly recommend this place. Great service, just wonderful, wonderful food. Excellent place. I'm so happy I got to go there.